Today's video is supported by Flying Eyes. I'll tell you more about them later in the show.
So let's flip the wick, shall we? Down 2 gears, the brakes are phenomenal, man. We're clear for takeoff. Super fun to ride, man. Super fun to ride. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to a very special episode of Yammy Noob. Y'all know I love these track day testing videos, and today we have none other than our Ducati Streetfighter V4S giveaway bike to test here on track. We are so excited to get this thing out today, rip up some laps, and y'all know I love sending it on track. It's one of my favorite things to do with motorcycles, so stick around. Today is gonna be a good one. All right, folks, in case you've been living under a rock, this is our giveaway Ducati Streetfighter V4S, and I had to come out here to Eagles Canyon Raceway to make sure that this thing could perform adequately on track. Ducati calls it a street fighter. We'll see if it's much of a track fighter today. Something tells me with its Panigale frame, electronically adjustable suspension, and 208 horsepower, this thing's gonna be mint. But don't forget, giveaway motorcycle, head over to shop.yammynoob.co. Every dollar you spend is an entry to win this motorcycle over there, or join up as a member at yammynoob.co. Get access to our Discord server, behind the scenes exclusive streams as well, twice a week, both for the Yamcast and for the Yam Cam, which is where I hang out with people on my cell phone, kind of a low budget sort of thing. That's all kind of ways to get entered to win these motorcycles and join on a deeper level here at Yammy Noob. I would really appreciate it. So for today's video, we're answering 2 questions. Number 1, is this motorcycle enjoyable for the everyday enthusiast? I myself am a little above the everyday enthusiast because I've done probably over 100 track days. I've done some club racing. I am not an expert level rider. I don't go out there and clip off like 1 second off lap record pace, but I am a little bit faster than the average bear. But I'm gonna be evaluating this thing on a variety of metrics today to see if it's good for the average everyday enthusiast. Guys like you who are going out there, maybe you've done 5 or 6 track days, maybe you're looking to do 3 or 4 a year, something like that. Is this motorcycle a good option? The next thing we're going to be evaluating is if the suspension, the electronically adjustable Öhlins here, is worth the money. We're going to see if this dynamic suspension is truly worth the cost of entry on this S model versus the base model V4. And lastly, we're just gonna have fun with the damn thing. So I'm gonna walk you guys through everything I've done to this motorcycle, what the different parameters are for prepping it that we've done. We're gonna get it on track, have some fun with it. We're gonna take a bunch of detailed notes today on the variety of different settings, and I'm gonna sit down with you guys and explain all that stuff at the end of the video. So it should be a pretty long one. Grab some popcorn, sit back, relax. It's gonna be a really good one. So let's get started with looking at everything we got going on with this motorcycle before we get it on track. All right, guys, there's a lot to unpack on today's video. I had to write this all down in my phone, otherwise I was gonna forget it. We've got about 5 sessions on track today. I'm gonna ride it in a variety of different settings. So first, I'm gonna ride the bike in a sport setting, factory setup, not gonna fiddle with anything. I'm just gonna chuck it into sport mode, go out on track, see how it feels. Then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna ride it in the bone standard dynamic race mode. So I'm just gonna set it into race mode, see how that changes stuff, see how I feel, kind of go from there. The third mode I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do an adjusted dynamic setup in race mode from Dave Moss's tuning setup. You guys don't know Dave Moss is kind of the guru when it comes to suspension tuning. I was able to find some great setups on this motorcycle from the internet, from his V4S setup videos. So thanks so much to Dave Moss. Gonna ride in that adjusted setup from his notes. And then we're gonna finally ride in the end of the day in the adjusted fixed suspension setup. So on this motorcycle, you can go in the sub menus and you can actually dial in either dynamic or fixed suspension settings. The dynamic suspension settings are obviously reading what's happening on the road and adjusting it in real time, kind of manicuring your experience for you. Fixed suspension is very much like traditional suspension, where it's just set it and forget it. You have rebound and compression at fixed points. Nothing changes, nothing is dynamic as the name implies. I'm then gonna come back and give you guys my impressions on all of those settings. One thing to note is that this motorcycle does not adjust preload electronically. So if you want to adjust preload on this thing, front and rear, you have to do it with the spanner. I'm very lucky in the fact that I weigh about 170 pounds, all fully kitted up with all my gear. So this spring back here, I measured the sag and I was right within spec of what the sag needs to be for this machine. We've also set our tires to 31 front and 26 rear. These are the Diablo Rosso Corsa 2s. That's a setting I found from the Pirelli website. This is the recommended track day tire PSI. We'll see how they do. Spoiler alert, I'm filming this after a couple sessions, and you will see a little bit of cold tearing there. I've been working on that all day. We'll talk about it at the end of the video. So yeah, we're gonna find out if this motorcycle is good enough for the enthusiast in all those different settings. We're gonna do a pretty extensive test today across all the different suspension settings and just see how much fun we can have with this machine. And spoiler alert, it's a lot of fun. Cut to the vlog, baby.
All right, everybody. We're heading out on track with the Ducati Streetfighter V4S. This is my fourth session of the day. I've got the bike in race mode, I've got it in a dynamic suspension setting, and I've got it adjusted via Dave Moss's recommendations for all the settings, and I gotta say, feels pretty dang good. This is definitely my favorite setting that I've tried in the day, and I'm really excited to give you guys some feedback on this. But again, this is a super detailed video, so stick around to the end and I will give you guys the full breakdown on what I think of this bike and how it kind of works for me. So we're not running tire warmers, we're on the stock Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2s. Kind of an older tire. I thought they would have put the 4s on here by now, but this is you know, a nice little warm-up session. Gonna build some heat in the tires, but I'll walk you guys through what I think of it so far. Man, the chassis is so planted, dude. This thing's got tons of grip, tons of confidence through the bike. Feels extremely good. Really, really good. Having some fun here, breaking it in a little bit. Guys in front of me are on slicks, and looks like they've already been running tire warmers, so they're probably gonna have some fun on their pace. I'm gonna run it nice and ginger here on this first lap, because last thing I wanna do is bin the Ducati Streetfighter V4S on track. I mean, they call it a Street Fighter, right? Why would you bin it on track? The throttle feel is amazing on this thing. On-off throttle is so predictable, so buttery smooth, really nice to use, and doesn't do anything unexpected. Really easy to lay into it, kind of give yourself a little bit of that. Oh, it feels so good. Side to side too, really nice. Let's open it up, shall we? Build some heat in the tires. These guys must be warming up a little bit, because I just closed in on them like a TIE fighter. And this bike's really playful too. That's something I'm going to mention later on in the video, but check this out. I'm going to get it wide open here, let the front dance a little bit, let it lift. It really works super well, and it's a ton of fun to ride, man. I think that's the really big through line for me, is how much fun this thing is to ride. I find myself getting it wide open and really enjoying it. It's not hard work to ride, and I'm not really sure how Ducati's managed that, but it really works. Trying to make our way through traffic here a little bit. We're about one lap in, so let's flick the wick, shall we? Down 2 gears. The brakes are phenomenal, man. I'm barely touching them. I got stopping power for days on this thing. Light it up here. Pick it up into third. Down 1 gear. Oh, man. It's so good. Run that wide a little bit so you can carry a bigger line here. Get on the gas. Pinch it wide open here just a little bit. Oh yeah, blast it down into the brakes. Super fun to ride, man. Super fun to ride. Ergos are a little compromised. It's got handlebars, it's a naked bike. The pegs are a little low, but overall, really enjoying the experience on this thing. Trail that in, follow this one right here. Squeeze it wide open. That's so nice, man. Check this out, I got a 600 right here. I'm gonna wait a little bit, cut them on the inside. We're clear for takeoff. I feel like I barely have to use the brakes, and I can get all my stopping done. It's just amazing what this thing can do. It's amazing. Let's see if we can get the front to dance a little bit for us. Yeah. scrubbed a little bit. There's a section up there that I'm going to try to get a little wheelie for you guys. Because it likes to dance up there a little bit. Let's see if we can get it to dance. Let's see. Yeah, tiny one. Extremely playful. Alright, we got some student traffic here. It's my buddy Capo from the Discord right in front of me, running that 360 camera. Let's pick it up here. Let's pick it up here, shall we? Deep on those brakes, baby. Let's go. God, I feel like the brakes are so powerful. These might be some of the most powerful brakes I've ever felt, other than my race bike. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, let's go. Squirm the front end a little bit. Pick it up here, nice and ginger. Third gear, fly through it. Yes. Look at it go, man! Oh, jeez, this bike's good. It's so fun to ride. You can do session after session on this thing, too. No problem at all. Gearbox is working for me so well. Missile mode. Barely touching those brakes. Let's get that front to dance up here. Let's do it, baby. Yeah. It's like you just sit back a little bit, let the front lift. It just sorts itself out. It's so much fun. Man, this is a fun bike. Let's see if we can pop a little wheelie here. Yeah! Playful little sucker. Let's go, baby. Trail that in there, having some fun. Noticing the foot pegs are being a little bit of an issue. Wide open right there. It sorts itself out, dude. Let's go. Now the brakes here. Guide it in. Let's get aggressive, shall we? Come on, Streetfighter. Let's mash it. Let's ride it in anger, dude. Let's go. Yeah, I am having a few issues with my feet rubbing, but it might be technique. I did scrape the shift lever though, so I'm not sure if it is. It's based on a Panigale, but it's not a Panigale, you know? Get that wheelie right here. Had some students in front of me, I didn't want to go crazy. Now we can go crazy. Hit this apex, mash it. I love this bike. I can do lap after lap after lap on this thing. This thing's amazing. I don't know how they made this work so well. It's wizardry. It's wizardry what Ducati's doing, dude. This is GP technology coming straight to you, man. I have the biggest grin on my face riding this thing, dude. Shimmy and squirm. This should not be this much fun. 200 horsepower should not be this much fun. I don't understand how every time I'm in that braking zone, I'm just like, oh, I'm leaving so much time on the table. These brakes are insane, dude. Oh, I got a low fuel light. I'm gonna pit in before I run out of gas. It's happened to me before many times on track. I hate that I ran out of gas. I wanted to keep going. That's what I get for not bringing enough fuel with me. I gotta go fuel up again. I got one more session left in today, but I hope y'all enjoyed that one. Let's wrap up our thoughts, shall we?
All right, folks, wrapping the day up here at the Streetfighter V4S. Going to give you all of my thoughts here on the different suspension settings and everything. I had fun with this bike today. So first of all, I showed up today a little bit late to the track day. I unloaded the bike, I put it up here on the side, jumped onto my suit, put it in sport mode, put some gas in it, and just went on track. I had about literally 12 minutes when I got here to get suited up and get out. And I was like, well, this is pretty indicative of what a street squid would probably do with this bike. Probably just suit up and just go give it a shot. And honestly, I was amazed at how it did in just sport mode. It was very docile. First through fourth gear, excuse me, are notoriously limited on this motorcycle. But I think Ducati did a smart thing with that. You know, 208 horsepower, it sounds awesome on paper. It's fun to brag with your friends about. But much like having a gigantic 16-inch member, it's cool to talk about, but functionally useless. Let's be real. And so what Ducati did here was they manicured a lot of that power in first through fourth gear, making this a really usable, fun motorcycle. The gears are a little bit long. I can't really get into fifth gear on this track. The rev ceiling is really high anyway, so you have lots of overrun. But yeah, in dynamic mode, you feel the suspension working. This is really similar to all the other electronic suspension systems I have tested. It's a bit of a weird feeling, but you get kind of used to it and you learn to just trust it and work with it. And that's the story of this thing. Super confidence inspiring, super trustworthy. You feel like it's gonna take care of you and you start playing with it. You start pushing with it. And that is a really cool quality in a motorcycle, especially a track day motorcycle like this. You want a bike that's playful. You want a bike that kind of edges you on a little bit and makes you want to, you know, test the edges and test the boundaries while making you feel like a superhero. And getting this, you know, 1103cc V4 to 14,500 RPM, I don't care who you are, you're gonna feel like Jack Miller, you're gonna feel like Pecco Bagnaia, you'll look down at the red and you start to really embody the Ducatista experience. It's pretty fun, I have to admit. I think in bone stock trim and in sport mode without anything adjusted, it is usable at an A-level pace. So if you're an A-level or level 3 track day rider kind of bro, the sport mode setting is completely usable. You can get along with it, you can have a lot of fun with it, and you can really use this machine the way it was intended to use. We're gonna get into it a little bit later because as you dial things in, holy crap, the thing comes alive. It's amazing. Now in sport mode, there are some muted feelings from the throttle. It's not exactly 100% in linear. In other modes, that does get better. But one thing I want to talk about are the ergonomics. Okay, so upright seating position, kind of a Street Fighter thing, as the name implies. You're kind of like aping the bars a little bit. You know, there's a trade-off here. On the one hand, it's very easy to ride. You can do 15 plus laps on this thing, even if you're not super fit. You'll be totally fine. I didn't even break a sweat the first 2 sessions I was out there. It was really easy to ride. It's not a difficult bike to ride. The downside of that though is when you're up in this upright position, you start getting weird pains in your shoulders because the wind is buffeting you so much. When you're off the side of the bike, it's a little awkward. You want to be closer down with the bars here and pushing with your chest. You don't want to be open and doing this. I know the promo materials all look cool and the guys are dragging elbow, but you got to really search for an elbow if you're going to get it down on this thing. Trust me. You can get a knee down, no problem. Any bike you can do that, but the proper position is a little funky on this thing. So honestly, I feel like unless you're going to a really big track like Circuit of the Americas or maybe Road Atlanta that has just a gigantic straightaway, this is workable. First through fourth gear, smaller tracks, actually workable and usable and a lot of fun to ride, but the wind buffeting definitely adds a little bit of drama to it. On the back straight here, I was seeing about 145 miles an hour. When you're fully tucked in, you get a little bit of chest and throat buffeting, which is weird, and you're trying to fight the wind, and you can't get into this position. You're always in this position, so a little bit strange. I gotta talk about the braking performance. It's outrageous. I'm coming into the braking zones on this bike, on this track. I'm feathering it in, and I'm just stopping. I'm clipping off speed like I can't even believe how much stopping power these Brembos have. This is one of the best stopping setups on any bike I've ever tested, other than my race bike that has an RCS 19, and I feel like you just tap it and you're already just clawing down speed. Really, really, really like the brakes on this. Amazing. And they don't fade at all. I've been throwing lap after lap after lap on this thing, not getting any brake fade whatsoever. I do think that, you know, the Diablo Rosso Corsa 2 was a weird tire choice for this machine. I'm I'm kind of shocked it didn't come with Pirelli Supercorsa SPs like most other super bikes do. You have a 200 section rear tire, so you get a little bit more meat, but it's kind of negligible anyways. But the Corsa 2 is a weird thing. For my skill set, which is kind of a rider, club racer, novice level, I've done like 100+ track days, done some racing. Again, I'm not expert level, but I put myself at least 75th percentile. These tires are plenty. You can have a ton of fun with this. You don't have to get in your own head about that you need to go get some Pirelli Supercorsa SP. The Diablo Rosso Corsa 2s are fine for your skill set, trust me. So after impression 2, race mode rips. Race mode is awesome. I think a lot of people get in their heads that they have to dial in these motorcycles to the nth degree to make them just right and just perfect. But I will say a lot of the times on track, I see people executing poor technique and then blaming suspension on it. Guys, if you're braking and you're modulating pressure, the front can't work the way it's supposed to, right? Like if you're not hard on the brakes and lightly letting off in a trail, if your technique isn't dialed in, if you're not throttling up the way you're supposed to off the apex, nothing's gonna work right no matter what you do. And honestly, honest to God, all you need to do with this machine, if you take nothing else away from this video, all you need to do with the Streetfighter V4S is you need to get it. If you want to take it on track, put it in race mode, and you are done. You don't need to do anything else. It is better if you do some of the other stuff, like I dialed this thing in for the Dave Moss settings and for my pace and skill set. Yes, it did feel better. However, for the vast majority of track day enthusiasts, put it in race mode, call it a day. It feels amazing. Now, I will say, after session 2, started getting some cold tearing issues. I tried to dial it back with the PSI. Tire was definitely overinflated a little bit. Couldn't really get that to seat correctly throughout the day. So you will see that I do have some cold tearing on this rear tire. Couldn't quite figure it out. Kind of throw the ball up in the air there. I don't know, I'm not a wizard. I went out 2 different sessions, tried 2 different tires, PSI setups, tried dialing it back. Nothing was really working. That's okay. I will say again, the bike is super playful, guys. You ride this machine on track, you want to pick it up, you want to let the front dance a little bit, you want to sit back a little bit and just let it kind of coast a wheelie. It is so confidence inspiring. It is so confidence inspiring and so much fun to ride. I had so much fun with this thing, but it's super thirsty. I've filled this thing up twice nowadays. In the today is what I'm trying to say. I've already filled it up twice. That's a bit crazy. I'm having some small issues with peg clearance as well. On the left side, and that could be my technique, I will fully admit, maybe on one of the sweepers there, I just tipped the bike in too much, I didn't pick it up off my body, but I did scrape the shift lever a little bit. However, this motorcycle does have lower pegs than the Panigale, guys. This is not just an undressed Panigale. There is a lot going on here to make this machine work in the Streetfighter configuration, and the peg height is a little bit lower. So you will have small clearance issues. You're not talking ZH2 levels of scrapage or a Royal Enfield, but at a pretty good clip, you're gonna see small peg clearance issues. So I would say if you're actually seriously taking this thing on track, one of the first changes I would do, other than, you know, get it dialed in with the suspension setup, is the pegs. Change out for some nice rear sets, get them a little bit higher to give yourself a little bit more clearance. Yeah, but the bike is just so playful. It's so much fun. The power is not scary at all. I think a lot of people think that the power is going to be scary. It's going to be this 208 horsepower thing. I'm blocking my microphone from the wind right now, guys. I'm not just, you know, holding my hand here. I'm trying to make sure you guys get that good audio. And it's just, I can't believe how usable 208 horsepower is. Ducati, and then the fact that you can literally get on the street with this thing and it rides beautifully and it works really well as a street bike. That is super difficult to engineer. You engineer a bike that can do all the street stuff, you take it on track, it absolutely rails and is super fun to ride and really confidence inspiring. I mean, I don't want to say it, but this might be a 10 out of 10 motorcycle. I cannot fault this thing for anything. There are super, super, super small qualms, but I don't know where we go from here. This thing is amazing. I just feel like this motorcycle, where do you improve this thing? It's outrageously good. And I know you guys think that I'm just biased because I'm doing it as a giveaway bike, but honest to God, I don't know how we make this better. It's so good. I had so much fun riding around today, guys, and I hope you appreciated today's video. If you have any questions about the Streetfighter V4S on track, drop me a comment down below. I'll try to answer your questions. If you're seriously considering one of these as a track day toy, you should do it. It's gonna be a lot of fun and you will enjoy it. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys. Be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give me a thumbs up. Remember, this is a giveaway motorcycle. Head over to shop.yamd.co and get yourself entered to win. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later. Well, look at you. You've made it to the end of another Yammy Noob video. You should consider yourself pretty lucky because I have curated this one right over here for you to continue watching. It's probably just as good as the one you just saw. Unless you hated the one you just saw. I don't know, maybe leave me a comment down below about how much you hated it as well too. Or just keep watching this one. Make sure you keep watching Yammy Noob. Don't forget to keep watching Yammy Noob. That's the most important thing. Keep watching Yammy Noob.